But the mayhem had not stopped, and the future was still up in the air. Long afterward, this insight persisted. Every quiet moment was burdensome. Every picture of Kirk was cropped, magnified, and examined. People assumed he was acting if he smiled. The truth had altered everything and had the power to either ruin them or help them grow. Emotions were running high every day, and strangers engaged in combat over a life they didn't lead in the comment sections. Jasmine went alone to a prenatal appointment one afternoon. People said that if he seemed sincere, regret had finally gotten to him. Sitting in the waiting area, Jasmine experienced a familiar ache when the doctor turned the screen to face her, and the sound of her heartbeat filled the room. They were reintroducing themselves as two individuals united by an unavoidable reality, rather than as a secret or a rumor. Kirk was meant to be there, but he became mired in an excessively drawn-out meeting. She made a short film for herself instead of posting it on social media, tears streaming down her face as the anguish was more psychological than bodily. She presented it to Kirk later that evening without saying anything, and he listened in silence until he went utterly insane. "I missed this," he muttered, in a remorseful tone, and Jasmine gave a nod. "And I won't get that moment back," she replied. "I'm not being impolite, I'm telling the truth." Their new vocabulary was honesty. It hurts, but it's essential. Arguments continued, but they were now raw, different, and less explosive. Kirk acknowledged one evening that he was concerned that he would always be viewed as the adversary in their narrative. He was not as reassured by Jasmine as he had imagined. "Maybe you will be, but you don't have to be one to her," she replied. He recalled what they had said. The family was still having problems. It was a stressful occasion when Kirk's parents visited him for the first time since the announcement. His mother hugged Jasmine tightly and apologized for not asking sooner since she believed that silence equaled protection. When Jasmine thanked him for coming, his father nodded appropriately but remained silent. The family was still divided, but the gaps were beginning to point to potential areas for reconciliation. Jasmine's family was suspicious of Kirk as usual. "You disappear again," her brother said to him one evening. Kirk didn't argue. "I won't be polite either," he answered. "I deserve those 4 in." The lack of defensiveness surprised everyone in the room. With other admirers, the internet narrative shifted again as the deadline drew near. Nobody expected this. Not after months of denials, cryptic posts on social media, and uncomfortable public appearances in which Kirk and Jasmine hardly shared a picture. Fans, friends, and even their own families are astonished by what they have finally stated now, that the hush has been broken. Feelings were running high as rumors grew into full-fledged rumors. And tonight, those rumors are spreading far more widely than anyone could have predicted. Kirk's sudden behavioral shift, his late-night disappearances, his guarded interviews, and the way he seemed irritated whenever Jasmine's name was mentioned have all stunned fans for weeks. Jasmine posted rather fake photos of herself smiling in the interim, subtitles that hinted at joy while hiding a deeper meaning. Then there was that one picture that was quickly deleted after astute followers noticed that a baby onesie was seen in the backdrop. Confidence or affirmation? Behind closed doors, things were far more frenetic. Sources claim that both households were shaken by heated disputes. As allegations flew, trust reached a breaking point. Friends were allegedly forced to take sides when family members demanded explanations. Kirk and Jasmine weren't ready to give. The family was divided. Some welcomed the idea of new life, but others warned that this connection was predicated on secrecy. After months of gossip, Kirk and Jasmine are finally speaking out. They did not, however, deliver the fairy tale revelation that fans had been hoping for. It's intense, raw, and tense. Is a woman going to be present? If so, why did it take so long for the truth to come to light? When this plan starts to fall apart, nothing and no one will be able to flee. Don't move, then. The night appeared to be quiet before everything began to break apart. But behind closed doors, the intensity of the passions was unfathomable. Kirk sat alone in his living room with his phone face down on the table, mentally replaying Jasmine's last words. She had challenged him earlier in the day with a voice that wavered between fear and fury. How much longer can we pretend, in your opinion? The silence was more intense than any argument they had ever had because he hadn't spoken anything. Outside, fans kept debating, speculating, and arguing in the comment sections, without realizing that 2 lives were already being destroyed by reality. As all of this was happening, Jasmine stood in front of the bathroom mirror with her hands covering her stomach and tears running down her cheeks. She whispered to herself that she had to do it, and that she could. The rumors were more than just gossip to her. They were the reality that was expanding and breathing inside of her. When private conversations with medical experts and close friends confirmed the baby girl rumors, everything changed. This was not just romanticism. This relates to time terror and the consequences of secret love. Earlier that week, a straightforward family gathering had turned into something akin to combat. Jasmine's sister trapped her in the kitchen, lowering her voice and making each comment more biting. "Are you really going to let him hide you like this?" she questioned. In an effort to defend Kirk, Jasmine said that he was scared and just needed time. But even as she was speaking, doubt started to seep in. Across town, Kirk's brother was warning him that fans were already suspicious and that the consequences would get worse the longer he delayed. "Do you think it's acceptable to stay silent online? Despite the smell of blood, they won't let go since his sibling went insane." Jasmine stopped answering calls as friends noticed the stress. Kirk no longer went to the group's dinners, and the tension finally broke out one evening in a parked car outside Jasmine's house. "You said when the moment was right," Kirk angrily exclaimed, slamming his fist against the driving wheel. When they did get to see each other, it was rushed and characterized by furtive glances and mumbled disputes. "What if it's never the right time? You have no idea how this will affect everything I've constructed," he responded as Jasmine broke down in tears. Poisonous and memorable, those words lingered between them. After realizing that love would not be sufficient to protect her and their unborn child, Jasmine turned to go, wiping away her tears. Jasmine didn't follow Kirk when he drove off that evening. Rather, she made a decision that would fundamentally change the storyline. Fans are shocked today, but at the time, it was just 2 people torn between duty and fear. Family members were battling over what to say, and when they called each other, dividing the family. Kirk could feel the pressure building. "The truth is emerging with or without you," he observed one evening when he was by himself. While some blamed Kirk of being cowardly, others accused Jasmine of seeking attention. Jasmine began drafting letters she never intended to send, expressing her hopes and anxieties. "I just hope you're standing with me when that happens," she said, mentally bracing herself. Long after the message was over, Kirk sat there and understood that the secret he thought he was guarding was already destroying everything. She envisioned a moment when her kid would inquire about the beginning of her parents' story, and she did not want it to begin with humiliation. Kirk, meantime, was tormented by memories of better moments spent with Jasmine before to the onset of terror. Friends withdrew, brand managers cautioned him, and even casual interactions became heated as people stared at him as if they knew something. He recalled making commitments he wasn't sure he could keep, smiling in private and fantasizing out loud. A family dinner at Kirk's parents' residence marked the pivotal moment. When the room became quiet, he opened and closed his mouth before getting up from the table. That same evening, Kirk's mother called Jasmine, and the conversation was short, tense, and full of pauses that were louder than words. She started, "We need to talk," and Jasmine agreed, understanding that there was no turning back now. His hands were trembling. When they convened the next day, the atmosphere was heavy with inspired judgment. Everything Kirk had been avoiding suddenly came to pass as his mother glanced at Jasmine's pregnancy, laying the groundwork for shocking revelations. "Is that true?" "Yes," Jasmine replied, her eyes starting to flood up with tears. "There's a baby girl?" she asked quietly. When earlier movies were released and smuggled pictures of Kirk leaving Jasmine's building late at night appeared, fans were already in a frenzy. Fans were shocked when suggestions appeared online during the apparently lengthy stillness that followed, and their chemistry suddenly became apparent in retrospect. Behind the scenes, families quarreled. While some of his portrayals of her were sympathetic, others were caustic. She ensnared him. "We can spin this," the publicist stated, quoting another purported commenter. Jasmine tried to stay offline, but the noise still reached her. Every comment was more in-depth than the previous one. Deny, delay, and divert. Hearing that made Kirk sick, so he sat with his publicist and rehearsed remarks he had never made public in an effort to limit the harm. Late that evening, he unexpectedly showed up at Jasmine's door, which she answered slowly and wearily. Why are you in this place?" As he concealed himself behind tactics, he imagined Jasmine sitting alone and carrying the weight of the truth. "I'm scared, but I can't keep running," Kirk remarked. As soon as he walked into the room, their conversation heated up. He had pain in his eyes. People began screaming and yelling, and for a split second it seemed like everything would collapse. Then Jasmine adds, "This isn't about us anymore. This is about her," she whispered. Kirk accused Jasmine of pressuring him, while Jasmine accused him of putting his reputation ahead of his obligations. When Kirk understood how horribly he had failed to defend the people he loved, he sobbed and fell to the ground. When Jasmine's family got back together a few days later without Kirk, her father became enraged and paced the room, declaring, "No man who hesitates deserves to call himself a true father." Jasmine's mother promised to support her no matter what, with or without him. Grasping Jasmine's hands, she spoke. Whether intentionally or not, details of Kirk's inner circle began to surface. Jasmine loved Kirk, but she was caught between relief and sadness because she could no longer afford uncertainty. Being a father wasn't something Kirk was ready for. Once more, as Kirk's reputation begins to decline, people are taken aback. "The statement went viral," a purported friend told a blogger. All of a sudden, the life he was attempting to preserve vanished as brands discreetly severed relationships and stopped receiving invitations. However, the pressure mounted until Kirk and Jasmine's unavoidable reunion took place. This time, they sat across from each other, weary but not sobbing or screaming, in a more muted but more aggressive manner. "What do you want?" "I'm not sure how to deal with what's going to happen, but I want to be there." Kirk inhaled deeply before responding to Jasmine's query. "The truth is impatient, so you'd better learn to inch swiftly," Jasmine said, slowly nodding. A few weeks later, it became impossible to keep the secret when a relative unintentionally liked a comment praising Jasmine. The narrative changed from hearsay to silent fan analysis of each action as screenshots went viral. People were demanding a joint statement, and their emotions were running high. "Be truthful with us. Stop lying," they begged. Jasmine placed her palm on her stomach across town and spoke softly to her unborn daughter, pledging love, truth, and strength even in the face of adversity. Neither of them was ready when daylight finally came. The night before they went public, Kirk was unable to sleep and was staring at the ceiling when he realized that his greatest concern was not headlines or criticism, but rather the prospect that Jasmine might never trust him again. Everything appeared odd as soon as the cameras were turned on. Kirk and Jasmine sat next to each other, emotionally distant but near enough to touch. Phones were ringing, cameras were ready, and things would never be the same again. Kirk rubbed his palms together nervously, while Jasmine's hands were calmly resting in her lap, but her jaw was stiff. "We know there have been a lot of rumors," she replied. The only sound in the room was the faint buzz of machinery. Kirk went to Jasmine and asked if he may speak when the producer gestured. She gave a small nod, but it was not enough. Jasmine shocked everyone watching in real time by saying, "We didn't plan for this to happen in public," before he could finish. The quick onslaught of comments, which included accusations, furious emojis, and real-time heart collisions, shocked fans. "We're having a baby girl," Kirk declared. Jasmine paused, closed her eyes briefly, and exhaled as though she had been holding her breath for months. The discovery swiftly rose to the top of the internet conversation. It wasn't the end, though. Instead, it was the beginning of something much more ambitious. When the hosts asked more direct questions than she had expected, Jasmine was the first to reply, her voice trembling. The internet erupted, with some fans crying with happiness and others accusing them of lying. Why keep it a secret? Were you ever going to be honest? Is this a genuine partnership? That's what she said. We were more afraid of the outer world than the baby, so we concealed it. Because some of them were not ready to step up, there was tension among them. In an effort to defend himself, Kirk talked about expectations, pressure, and his fear of losing everything he had worked so hard to achieve. But he knew the next bit would be terrible, so he shifted nervously as she spoke. "You already lost something," Jasmine said, staring at him. But she became clearer as she sensed the gentle reminder of life developing inside of her. "I'll be enough," she told herself. Conversely, Kirk had to face the consequences he had tried to prevent. His friends stopped talking to him. His carefully crafted image, which had taken years to establish, rapidly disintegrated, and invitations disappeared. All of a sudden, he understood what Jasmine had been bearing for so long by herself. He began to show up, attend appointments, and publicly defend Jasmine, even at his own expense, despite his overwhelming regret. Public opinion was somewhat altered by an incident that was caught on a fan's phone in which Kirk opened a car door for Jasmine while sheltering her from the cameras and whispering something that made her grin a little. This time, rather than drama, followers are taken aback by friendliness. In the comments, several expressed cautious optimism instead of anger, saying things like, "Maybe he's evolving." Not everyone was convinced when Jasmine responded in a rare post to a former colleague's claims that the couple was taking advantage of the pregnancy for sympathy. "This isn't a plot," she said. "This is how we live." Many individuals agreed with the message, but the criticism never truly stopped. The relationship remained fragile as the months went by, and trust was being progressively and painstakingly rebuilt. One evening, Jasmine asked Kirk, "Would you still be here if the world hadn't found out?" While some days ended in quiet, others yielded positive outcomes. As everyone attempted to redefine what support meant in the modern world, the family became divided not only between the parents but also inside themselves. After a little pause, Kirk gave an honest response. "Then, I'm not sure. This goes beyond the two of us, despite the anguish." Jasmine nodded and accepted the candor while whispering softly and putting his palm on her stomach. The ensuing weeks felt slower and heavier, as if time itself was bearing down on them both. Despite Kirk's best efforts, memories were not erased by his presence. There was a question mark on every smile he gave. Jasmine's emotions fluctuated between serene vulnerability and strong strength as her body changed. Now one thing was definite, but the mayhem had not stopped, and the future was still up in the air. Long afterward, this insight persisted. Every quiet moment was burdensome. Every picture of Kirk was cropped, magnified, and examined. People assumed he was acting if he smiled. The truth had altered everything and had the power to either ruin them or help them grow. Emotions were running high every day, and strangers engaged in combat over a life they didn't lead in the comment sections. Jasmine went alone to a prenatal appointment one afternoon. People said that if he seemed sincere, regret had finally gotten to him. Sitting in the waiting area, Jasmine experienced a familiar ache when the doctor turned the screen to face her, and the sound of her heartbeat filled the room. They were reintroducing themselves as two individuals united by an unavoidable reality, rather than as a secret or a rumor. Kirk was meant to be there, but he became mired in an excessively drawn-out meeting. She made a short film for herself instead of posting it on social media, tears streaming down her face as the anguish was more psychological than bodily. She presented it to Kirk later that evening without saying anything, and he listened in silence until he went utterly insane. "I missed this," he muttered, in a remorseful tone, and Jasmine gave a nod. "And I won't get that moment back," she replied. "I'm not being impolite, I'm telling the truth." Their new vocabulary was honesty. It hurts, but it's essential. Arguments continued, but they were now raw, different, and less explosive. Kirk acknowledged one evening that he was concerned that he would always be viewed as the adversary in their narrative. He was not as reassured by Jasmine as he had imagined. "Maybe you will be, but you don't have to be one to her," she replied. He recalled what they had said. The family was still having problems. It was a stressful occasion when Kirk's parents visited him for the first time since the announcement. His mother hugged Jasmine tightly and apologized for not asking sooner since she believed that silence equaled protection. When Jasmine thanked him for coming, his father nodded appropriately but remained silent. The family was still divided, but the gaps were beginning to point to potential areas for reconciliation. Jasmine's family was suspicious of Kirk as usual. "You disappear again," her brother said to him one evening. Kirk didn't argue. "I won't be polite either," he answered. "I deserve those 4 in." The lack of defensiveness surprised everyone in the room. With other admirers, the internet narrative shifted again as the deadline drew near. Nobody expected this. Not after months of denials, cryptic posts on social media, and uncomfortable public appearances in which Kirk and Jasmine hardly shared a picture. Fans, friends, and even their own families are astonished by what they have finally stated now, that the hush has been broken. Feelings were running high as rumors grew into full-fledged rumors. And tonight,